Hi there, this is Satyajit Ray from Satyajit Films, and welcome to part 9 of my Satyajit Ray series. And today's film is 1964's Charulata, or The Lonely Wife. Again, this is the Artificial Eye 5-film Blu-ray set, which I encourage you to buy if you can find it, because it has a quote by the Governor, or Akira Kurosawa. Not to have seen the cinema of Satyajit Ray means existing in the world without seeing the sun or the moon. Yep, you should watch Satyajit Ray films because Akira Kurosawa tells you to. Anyway, this is Charulata, which is fantastic. His previous film was set in 50s India, and this film goes back to 19th century India. So the British are still in rule. The Tories are in power, but this film is set in the time where the Liberals took over. It's funny because one of the characters actually says the Tories will never do India any good. Not that anything's changed. So this film stars Sumitra Chatterjee, who, if you've been following this series, you know he's Ray's leading man. It also stars Madhabi Mukherjee, who was the leading actor in Big City, and Salian Mukherjee. Don't think they were related. And again, it's a simple story of a husband and wife, played by both the Mukherjees, and his brother, who comes to stay with them, who's played by Sumitra Chatterjee. The husband runs a political newspaper called The Sentinel, whose catchphrase or logo is "Truth Survives." And they live in this beautiful, opulent house, and he runs the newspaper downstairs with one of his cousins, Umpada. And Charu is his wife, and he doesn't really pay that much attention to her because he's busy with politics and his newspaper. So to keep her from getting bored, he asks his brother, who's jobless, to come and help out and also hang out with her and keep her company, essentially. The brother comes with a storm, literally, and he is a kind of would-be writer, and he ignites her and kind of pushes her to actually write herself. Now again, in the previous film, The Big City, there was the idea of women actually going out to work. So in this film, it's the idea of women actually writing, and women actually, being published authors, which again at the time wasn't really the popular thing. It's a man's world. So again, with all of Ray's films, it's about the changing of the guard, whether it's Tories to Liberal, whether it's the British moving out of India and India taking their own rule, whether it's about the idea of conservative women compared to modern women who think for themselves and have their own opinions and things like that. So there's always this old world, new world dynamic in Ray films, and this one's no different. There's always ideas in some of his other films about, old religion and Christianity is the new religion, and the modern and the old world. I mean, he introduced this idea in his first film, Pather Panchali, with the image of the train as the modern world. So again, I feel as though I'm repeating myself with Satyajit Ray, but it's a really simple story. Things happen. Amal, who's Samita Chatterjee's character, and Charu have a friendship. They fall out, they fall back in again. There's maybe something a little bit more than friends. It's maybe just intimated. Things happen. Events transpire that force people apart, force people together, force the husband to reassess his priorities. It's another great Satyajit Ray film, and again, talking about the synopsis isn't perhaps the most exciting thing, but certainly, I mean, the print on this Blu-ray set is fantastic. I mean, Ray uses some fast pans, some fast tracks, which he hasn't tended to do before. He puts a camera on a swing when Charu's having a swing in the garden while Amal's reading to her and writing, which is just a beautiful scene. He uses some interesting use of close-up. He uses interesting technique at the end of the film, which has a really powerful kind of moving effect on the audience. It's beautifully acted. I mean, Ray at this point, 9-10 films in, he's like a master. I mean, it is hard to believe that allegedly when he made Pather Panchali back in 1955 he had no clue how to make a film, but just his natural voice and his natural eye just comes out. His sense of composition is just wonderful. His naturalistic lighting. There's a great scene on the beach near the end of the film, which is just beautiful. And again, the convention would be in a story like this to make the husband a monster. So, the other two characters are kind of, they come together, out of adversity and because the wife's been treated so badly. But Ray doesn't do that. I mean, the husband, you root for the husband as well, because he is a good man. He's just kind of been distracted with politics and running a business. So there's maybe one not so nice character, but I won't tell you who that is. You'll have to watch the film, because Kurosawa told you to watch the film. The convention was to make the husband the bad guy, but the husband's not the bad guy. It's three well-rounded characters that you just root for, and you want to find out what happens to them. I mean, I'm repeating myself when it comes to Ray. But again, if you were to watch The Music Room, you were to watch the Apu trilogy, and you were to get your hands on this box set of Artificial Eye, if you don't like them, then I'm happy to give you a refund. Obviously, I'm not going to put that in writing, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Please watch Satyajit Ray films. because I'm keen to hear what people think of them if they have seen them. So tell me what you think of Charulata, The Lonely Wife, if you have seen it, and if you haven't seen it, please try and see it. I think it's out on Criterion. Not sure it's on Criterion Blu-ray, but it's out on Criterion DVD and Artificial Eye Blu-ray. Madhabi Mukherjee gives another fantastic performance, like she did in The Big City. And Salin Mukherjee as the husband gives a really good performance as well. And Samita Chatterjee is always good. Again, it's another beautifully crafted Ray film. Again, he wrote it, directed it, and did the music. I mean, granted, most of Ray's films come from Bengali literature, but he adapts them and writes them himself in pretty much the majority of his cases. And obviously music has always been a big part of Ray's work, because that's, you could argue he loved music more than he actually loved film, certainly when he started. And this is a really nice score as well. So thanks very much for watching chapter 9 of Satyajit Ray. I mean, I'm really enjoying either watching some of his films for the first time or re-watching them after a few years. This series I've certainly enjoyed, because it gives me an opportunity to watch some great Satyajit Ray films. So thanks very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again for more Satyajit Ray films. This is Saul Ronan saying farewell.